Hey, there's a new Superman movie out. Cool. When James Gunn was announced as the creative lead for the new DC movie universe, I was a little apprehensive. It's not that I have anything against James Gunn, but his humor and style don't often hit for me. There's something about the juxtaposition of like genuine emotional pathos and, I don't know, dick jokes. I just feel like I chafe up against anything that's all like, from the horrible, beautiful, twisted, fucked up mind of this guy. It just always felt a little try-hard to me. But this movie, this Superman 2025, this works. This works really well. And that's the non-spoiler portion of this video, by the way. You have been warned. I would argue that James Gunn's usual James Gunnisms feel purposefully restrained, and the film is able to walk this delicate balancing act. Yes, Superman careens down an antimatter proton river thing while holding a giant-headed green baby, and that does feel very James Gunn. But at the same time, the movie never feels irony-poisoned or like it's making some kind of wink to the audience. It is an earnest film, and it feels genuine in its love for what makes superheroes heroes. And it's that earnestness that I think ultimately elevates this movie. Like, you could argue that the conversation between Lois and Clark about his actions in Jarhanpur doesn't totally pay off by the end, but the absolute mic drop moment of Superman yelling, "People were going to die," kinda makes up for it. See, this movie is mostly interested in exploring Superman's humanity. The reveal that Clark's Kryptonian father, Jor-El, is kind of a monster works well because it's in service of that exploration. The film sets up his parents, subverts your expectations, then moves on from them by the end of the movie. And I love that for a few reasons. One, it feels to me like one of the main ways the movie is actively addressing its predecessor, Man of Steel. Snyder's 2013 film is so utterly obsessed with Kryptonian bullshit that the Kents are like completely thrown under the bus. So it's refreshing to see a new take that says your Kryptonian parents don't really matter. It's the people that raised you that matter. And two, if we're gonna explore Krypton's legacy, there's a much better character to do it with, since she either A, actually remembers Krypton, or B, at the very least remembers the floating, domed Kryptonian city. Probably that second one in this continuity. Oh, and third thing, I just kind of don't care about Krypton, so like I'm fine with the movie not really caring about it too much. And for how little screen time they get, the Kents are delightful here. Most of my in-law family is actually from the South, and Clark's parents feel just very authentic. Like, I've definitely met these people. Clark himself also feels very authentic, which is as good a segue as any to talk about the cast. David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan are perfect. Perfect. Down to the last minute details. Well, except the suit. I love the colors and the trunks and the Kingdom Come symbol, but like, what's with the collar? This isn't New 52. Why does he have a fucking collar, James? This Clark and Lois are both wonderfully written and performed. The scene where they discuss punk rock is not only touching and heartfelt, but was made specifically for me. POD mentioned, let's go! The Justice Gang members are also a highlight of the movie, with Eddie Gathegi's Mr. Terrific being an absolute show stealer. Nathan Fillion was born to play Guy Gardner. And Hawkgirl, well, I mean, she's there. I could have gotten more from her. Honestly, I would have liked more contrast between Superman and the corporate-funded heroes in general. I mean, the film sets up that they're funded by Maxwell Lord, but then doesn't really do anything with that. Lex Luthor is maybe my biggest reservation when it comes to how they adapt the characters. My Lex was always the Clancy Brown DCAU Lex, and I can't really imagine him shedding a tear when he loses or ever willingly admitting how much he envies Superman. But even with that, I'd still argue that Nicholas Holt's Lex is the best we've ever gotten in live action. The reveal that his Baravia plot was just an elaborate way to destroy Superman is perfect, and I love how much of a professional hater he is. Not really sure why the Engineer is with him though. Now, I love the Authority, but this kind of isn't the Engineer. I mean, I enjoyed her presence in the film for what she was, but like, why? Ultraman is fine. He's more of a plot device than a character. I don't really have a lot to say about the guy, which is okay, because, you know, he doesn't have much to say either. Finally, there's Eve, and this is maybe where I risk a controversial opinion. I love her. James Gunn took a ditzy, clingy, selfie-taking airhead and made her a clever hero, and I love that. I want strong, well-written female characters in my fiction, but I also don't want to just ignore the types of people that exist in the world. I've met Eves in my real life, and they are just as valid as the Loises of the world. By making her a linchpin and taking down Lex without changing who she is, the film is saying that everyone can be a hero. Even a douchebag like Jimmy Olsen. I gotta admit, I do like the direction they went with him. Jimmy being a chick magnet, despite seemingly not understanding why, is extremely funny to me. And like, yeah, he's a bit of a dick, but, you know, so is Green Lantern, and he still comes through in the end. I guess we should talk about Baravia. The conflict between Baravia and Jarhunpur has been the subject of much discussion online, with people drawing parallels to the Russia-Ukraine war, as well as Israel's occupation of Gaza. And sure, it's topical, but I feel like it also would have been topical back in the Bush years. The US profiting from overseas conflict is kind of an evergreen idea. But I do think the imagery here is clearly drawing parallels to the Middle East. I mean, look, I don't like what Israel's doing, so I'm going to be the last person who's going to be offended by this. Ultimately, Baravia is an aggressive nation doing an ethnic cleansing of a neighboring country for personal gain, while the media obfuscates the facts of the situation to portray it as more complicated than what it actually is. If you look at that and think, hey, this movie is anti-Israel or anti-Russia, then I don't know, maybe think about why you feel that way. On a lighter note, how great is Millie Alcock's Supergirl? I'm so fucking excited for that movie. So generally, I like the movie, and I'm surprised by just how interested I am in where this DCU goes. Yes, some of the expository dialogue is clunky. Yes, this Lex Luthor isn't totally my Lex. Yes, some of the nuances of Clark's character arc do get lost in the shuffle of everything. But you know what? This movie still rocks in spite of all of it. And after seeing it twice, I just needed to get my thoughts out on it. And who knows, maybe I'll make more videos about this new DC universe as it expands. Until next time, bye-bye.